Alright guys, I'm back. Let's talk more about Abby, Chuckler's sister. So, one thing I forgot to mention is that when I first got Abby, her head was screwed too tight in the chassis, so I had to loosen it a little bit. Now her head spins freely. And she does know crane or whip like Chuckler and Horde Hookie. There's supposed to be another breakdown crane character, which is a female like Abby, but she's painted gold with black. Her crane arm's black. Her magnet is painted like this very light blue, and the flatbed's painted gold. She doesn't have a name or a chassis yet. I wonder what her name's gonna be. Maybe Kelvin Rogers could tell me. But yeah, I hope that breakdown train gets a chassis soon. And I wonder when Kelvin Rogers will give it a name. It's probably gonna have the same name as Abby, Chuckler's sister. He probably said that. Anyways, can't wait to see what that looks like. So this is another head start model Kelvin Rogers told me last time. I read his comment. So this is a head start model. Like, I basically created this model before Kelvin Rogers. Kind of like how I created Paint Licorice before Kelvin Rogers. That's the second time that's happened. I think that's pretty cool. So I just want to say again, thank you so much, Kelvin Rogers, for telling me what this breakdown train looks like and what her name is. I hope he uses Abby in his videos soon, whenever he has the chance to get a old-style breakdown train. One thing I forgot to mention about Chuckler is that I saw the video that Kelvin Rogers painted Chuckler's face light gray. At first, his face was dark gray, but Kelvin Rogers painted it to light gray. So it's kind of more visible. Anyways, I think Abby looks pretty cute. So, let's continue with, I think we'll do these two next. These two trucks are a part of Dread's gang. Their names are Calvin and Hobbes. There's kind of an interesting story about these two. Let me explain. So, Calvin and Hobbes are two orange China clay trucks, and they're 3D printed rather than the actual China clay trucks from Thomas Rally. Calvin has white lines, and Hobbes has black lines. But let me talk about the faces. So, originally, Calvin and Hobbes' faces almost looked like Reese's faces, but they were a little different. Then Popular Paxton decided to change them later on. So, Calvin here has black eyes, and I think this might be a triangle nose, I could be wrong. And he has braces like Morgan's mine truck. I think Calvin's one of my favorites out of the two. And Hobbes has thick eyebrows, a round nose, 3 freckles on both sides, and a tooth like Scaredy's. So, Hobbes is pretty cool. And there's not much I can say about Calvin and Hobbes. Only they were 2 trucks from Train Heaven that Dread met after Dread turned good. And Scaredy was able to rescue Calvin and Hobbes and Dread, along with a few other trucks, like Shock, for example. And these 2 are a part of Dread's gang. Now, at first, I thought maybe Dread would join Harry's gang, or maybe Dread could have joined Scaredy's gang over there. But instead, Dread has his own personal gang, and Calvin and Hobbes are a part of it. So are Shock, Black Widow, Leyland, as well as 2 truck ninjas named Chance and Noah. So I do plan to make Leyland as well, if you ask. Maybe even Black Widow, I don't know. But maybe you guys can ask in the comments below. I do really appreciate you asking for new trucks. Anyways, let's do this black truck here. So, this is one of my new trucks that I purchased. I bought this from a Thomas Wood Ryan Scruffy, the fully painted version, the 2019 version of that. So let me explain about this truck and what he is. So, this truck's name is Cody. I think Cody's a pretty interesting name, because I watched Super Mario Logan, and there's a character named Cody. So, Cody is a black truck with gray lines, a gray face, and blue eyes. So, let me explain how Cody came out as a character. So, when Popular Pakistan decided to make Cody, he took Shadow Dread and painted it into Cody. Now, I think Cody looks pretty good. Because Shadow Dread no longer exists, Dread's not permanently dead, and he was brought out. So, I don't think I will make a Shadow Dread, because he doesn't exist anymore. We now have Cody here. And let me explain about Cody's character. So, Cody's personality is that Cody can sometimes be unconfident, like he feels afraid to do something. But once he gives it a try, he remembers that he's good at something. But then he forgets what he's good at all over again, and he gets afraid again. I think that's okay for Cody. I mean, it's pretty funny. And I have to say, he looks good with Emma. I do have Emma, the German milk tanker, if you watch part 1 of my new custom trucks. And let me explain something else. Kelvin Rogers has got Cody, but he took Harry's old model and painted it to Cody. But like Kelvin Rogers said, he's going to get a new Hero Sticky Still pack and turn it into Harry. He might do the same thing for Chris, because he turned Chris into Oliver. So he's going to get 3 more Dairy cards from Hero Sticky Spill and paint them into Harry, Chris, and Dread. And Cody is the 5th Dairy card from Hero Sticky Spill. The 4th being Oliver. So I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, that's all I can say about Cody. I'm pretty grateful that Kelvin Rogers has Cody. So thank you, Kelvin Rogers, for making John, Oliver, and Cody. I hope you get a new Shock, Harry, and Chris to replace the ones that were made into John, Oliver, and Cody. Now let's take a look at this metallic red boxcar. This is one of Kelvin Rogers' original characters. Her name is Summer. I showed her before, but she was made out of paper. Now she is 3D printed. I think she looks a little good now. So, she still has her whole face, but it's just Scaredy's face with added eyelashes. I think that's pretty good for Summer. And one more thing I forgot to mention about the new breakdown crane that's going to be painted gold and black. She has a hand-drawn face made by Kelvin Rogers. This is Abby. She has Slimey's face. So I can't wait to see what that looks like. Summer faces backwards. Yeah. I should also mention that Abby faces backwards. Same thing with Calvin and Hobbes here. But all I can say about Summer is that she's 3D printed, and she looks a little better now. So I'm happy for Kelvin Rogers for suggesting me that. Now let's take a look at Lucy. So this is Lucy's new model. So if you're wondering how I made Lucy, well, she still has her face. But this is actually Gabby's old model. Now if you're wondering why I did that, well, it's because Kelvin Rogers told me that he's going to give Lily, Denise, and Gabby some overhauls. So he's going to buy a gold truck and paint it into Gabby. As for Lily and Denise, he's going to get some WR plank trucks from Shapeways and turn those into Lily and Denise. So they'll look like actual trucks, like longer trucks, to say the least. But I think this new model of Lucy looks pretty good. So let me know what you guys think about this. I think Kelvin Rogers might have asked me to 3D print Lucy, but I decided to go with this idea. I mean, If you like this idea, please tell me in the comments below. And now let's take a look at a new parent. So, I should also mention this. There's a shocking secret that none of us know. Bobby is Zella's brother, and this is Zella's mother. So, this truck's name is Miranda, like Miranda Cosgrove. So, how did I make Miranda, you might ask? Well, this was actually Andrew's old model. And Miranda was made from a red China clay truck. I just painted it green and added sort of China clay. So I think Miranda looks pretty cute. I'm happy to know that Zella and Bobby have a mother. She was the one who defeated Timothy the number 0. She told Zella to control her temper because 0 was part of her shadow. That was pretty interesting. And now, the last good trucks we will take a look at are these 4 right here. Let's start with the 2 new ones. These 2 are tiny milk tankers, and their names are Crimson and Fiona. So I pretty much like these 2. So Crimson and Fiona are 3D printed. Their chassis came from a wooden James tender, I think. And Fiona's chassis came from Mike's tender, because I plan to make a Thomas Wood Mike suit, as well as Rex and Bert. So, Crimson and Fiona are Scaredy's kids. Scaredy is a father now, which I think is pretty awesome. And kind of interesting at the point. So, I think these 2 look good. I especially like Crimson and Fiona's faces. That's pretty good. So, there's not much I can say about Crimson and Fiona. I think they look pretty cute. I hope Kelvin Rogers plans to make these one day, as well as Jamie, Tara, Raven, and Black Licorice. I don't know when he might, but it would be nice if he did. So, now let's talk about Slimey here. You may be asking, well, what's so special about Slimey? You already reviewed her before. Well, that is true, but the last time you saw Scaredy and Slimey, they had hair grown on them. But recently, Scaredy and Slimey decided to get haircuts because they felt like hair didn't quite suit them. And I didn't blame them. I'm happy that Slimey and Scaredy are back to normal. That's pretty awesome. And Slimey does still glow. And this is a newer face, because I don't remember what happened to my old Slimey face. But I think she looks good. And the last good truck we have is, you know it, Scaredy. So, Scaredy has hair grown on him, but he got a haircut, like I said, and hair didn't quite suit him, so he looks pretty good. This is a newer Scaredy face, because I don't know what happened to my old face. But he had a oil logo added to him, but I took that off, and I painted the word oil back on. So Scaredy is officially back to normal. Scaredy's officially back to normal. So that's pretty awesome. I love that Scaredy looks the way he was originally. Kelvin Rogers has Scaredy and Slimey with hair, but it would be kind of nice if he did what I did, giving Scaredy and Slimey their old faces back and painted oil back on. That's all I gotta say. We'll talk about the bad trucks in part 4. So, I'll see you soon.